The traits you want to add. Is this all right? All right, it's done. I think it turned out well.
Hello, my alchemy cupcakes, and welcome back to Atelier Sophie. This is KaffeineGaming, and we need to talk about weapons. First thing I want to do is actually run over here to Corey. I think we have a simple suite already in our inventory somewhere, and I want to register that for Monica's. Yes, I have one right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and nope, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that back right away. They're only 28, so that's not bad. We need 15 of those total, so I just wanted to get those for Monica's event here. We need 15 of them. It says hurry, but I don't think there's an actual time limit on that, so don't worry about it too much. Now, the other thing that I want to discuss is weapons. So without going into too much detail on how the weapons work and how much research I did on this, there are 5 tiers of weapons, and actually doing and looking at the staves here can kind of show that off. You've got the starting staff, tier 1, the flourish heart, tier 2, wandering staff, tier 3, prosper heart, tier 4, and finally the eternal cycle staff, tier 5. Now the final one here is using the forgotten wood, which is a forgotten item that we got through a quest or something like that. These weapons are really good, but everything I've read actually talks about how the 4th tier weapons are just so much better than the 5th tier ones. So we're going to be creating a 4th tier weapon for everyone, and they're pretty good, so we're going to do that. Now we need to create something to do that, and we want specific traits. So for each weapon that we create, we want to pick up the well-rounded power, which we already have, the dragon soul, and also the power of God. So we need to create those.
Okay, what should I make?
And I've kind of done some preliminary stuff to make sure we can actually create this. So let me just tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to start by creating a natural yeast. And with this, we're going to create it with attack boost, attack super enhance, dragon soul, and pro perfection. So let me pull all of that together and I'll be right back. Okay, very quickly here, just grab 2 basic soil potatoes with size plus. They've got 4 squares rather than the normal 3. I've grabbed one of the flowers that we collected. It's got the attack super enhance. We'll get back to that in a second. I grabbed a puny fluid with attack boost and the dragon heart with pro perfection. And I'm just going to grab pretty much whatever here.
Is this really
sure,
okay?
that works. And I want to create this using the fairy cauldron and pretty much max out the cauldron if I can. Don't really care too much about doing the whole quality thing, because you can see the bars at the right, you don't need anything like that. But I want to get the cauldron as full as I can. There we go. So we created a natural yeast, so we should have power of destruction, pro perfection, and dragon soul.
How's this? Yeah, this is all done.
So that's the first thing we're going to do. Now the next thing we're going to do is create a neutralizer R using that yeast, wherever it is. And I want to also pull on this the power of beasts, which I think, I don't remember which, we have a couple items with that on there. See if we can find them. Power of beasts is right there. And the power of beasts and power of destruction combined will give you the power of gods. And you can use whatever else you want here. So let me quickly synthesize this.
This go well?
Okay, I wanted to go ahead and max out both of those bars, and we've done it. So we've got the power of God, the dragon soul, and pro perfection.
Yeah, this is all done.
Okay, with that created, we now want to create a gold thread. Now, there's different ways to do this.
Which material should I choose?
Really depends on what you're doing, but I wanted to create this the best way that I could, because honestly, it took me a little bit to figure all of this out, and I noticed that there were different ways to go about doing this. Now, I want to get the well-rounded power and replace the pro perfection, so that's what I'm going to do here. Alright, so with that, we now have the Dragon Soul, Power of Gods, and also the well-rounded power. So those are the three
Yeah,
that we
this is all
want for our weapon, and we are slowly working our way towards creating, now that we've gotten a little bit further, the gold eisen, which is a bar. Now we need a couple things. We need broken stone, which we need to go collect, and the geit eisen, which is here. And we need to get it to the point where we can actually transfer those 3 traits that we have. So we need to create a crystal ball to do that, and that's kind of what I'm working toward. But to create a crystal ball, we needed all sorts of stuff, and honestly, it's kind of convoluted. But long story short, you're just gonna have to sit down and figure it out if you want to get all of the traits that you want. So let's... Oh, I went one too far. We're not here on the crystal ball yet. We still need to create a muff cot using that gold thread that we just created. So let me do that first.
Done.
Okay, muff cot is created. We're gonna grab all that stuff. And now we can create the crystal ball because the cloth we have is right there. And it pretty much doesn't really matter what else to use here. Let's just throw a bunch into the box, and I'm gonna go ahead and include sure, why not? Okay, so the crystal ball is done, and we have all 3 of those traits that we wanted. And lastly, we are now going to create the final item here, not the actual the gold eisen, but the geist eisen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right or not. And we're gonna go ahead and just create, I don't know, use whatever we've got here. Use some good items. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the crystal ball, which is under the secret power requirement. And sure, that works.
Okay, then.
And again, there's no bars to this, so really the best thing you could probably do here is just fill up the cauldron the best that you can. That way you have a really good quality. Quality does actually determine how well your items created are, but generally at the beginning of the game you don't really care. It's just for kind of end game stuff. Okay, Power of Gods, Dragon Soul, and well-rounded power. Oh, the Dragon Soul, by the way, increases all stats by 15 and increases skill power by 20. Very useful. Power of Gods increases attack power by 40, making you pretty much invincible, honestly. And well-rounded power, of course, increases all stats by 25.
Okay, it's finished.
So we're pretty good there. Now, we don't have any broken stone, so we need to go to the world.
Going next.
And I think the best place to do this is actually going to be at the Fallen Palace, because you can pick up some broken stone there and, you know, some other stuff if you really want to. Oh my gosh, just let me through. Now the best place in here to collect the broken stone is actually right here, but there is no items right there right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gather a little bit to get my stuff up, the little bells. I don't know what else to call it. There it is, there's one. Now if we go down here, this should be broken stone. Yes, and they spawn, I think, other places too, but I've had the best luck with getting them to spawn in that particular spot and really nowhere else. So let me keep gathering here, and I'm gonna leave this area and go back. There we go, so it has respawned, which is what I wanted. Woo, I could fight enemies here. In fact, you might want to. I don't actually want to fight enemies here. See how many of those that I have. 1, 2, okay, I want at least 10 of them. I don't know how many we're gonna be using, but I want to have a good option. Like, I want to have options. So that is what we are going for here. And yeah, you can gather the other stuff too, so let me finish this up and I'll be right back. Did I really not get anything? Okay, at this point we've pretty much maxed out our basket, so I'm just going to use a fairy guide to go home. Alright, so at this point we can actually create the gold eisen, wherever that is. It's in here somewhere. There it is. So let's go ahead and grab the geist eisen that we used, and you can use pretty much whatever you want here. Sure, that works. Let's go ahead and sort by encyclopedia. I want to use items that are fairly good sized because you can actually filter by, I'm sorry, you can actually sort by size if you want to do that way. Having the quality higher is going to be a really useful thing. Let me head all the way up to the top here. I don't think there's an easy way to do this, actually. Sure, that works. And there we go. Let's do this, and let me go ahead and toss everything into the cauldron here.
Is this good?
Okay, not too bad there, and we've created 2 of these. We got Power of Gods, Well-Rounded Power, and Dragon Soul. And you can see the quality is pretty good here, so... And we leveled up, which is good, because we really need to do that as well. Now, let's go ahead and head... it is nighttime, which is, actually not the time I thought it was going to be. So let me actually synthesize one other thing here. We have the... Where is it? Give me a second, I'll find it. The White Hot Headband. We want to create some of these. These are actually really good items. I want to get... I think for this one, there's a couple things that you could get on here. I'm gonna go ahead and aim for the All-Stat Super Enhance, the Well-Rounded Power, and I think the Mutated Material is probably going to be the other best thing to do here. Oh, actually, there we go. There's one right there. So let's go ahead and grab that and use just kind of a whatever item there. And all right, let me use some yellow items if I can find some. Okay, so now let me synthesize this up. As you can see here, I want to max.
This is going well.
If you can see here, you can see that I might want to max out the different bars.
This is good.
And I actually do. Oh, that's not going to be helpful here. Let's do this.
All right. This is going
and
well.
do this, and this should allow us to max out all
Is this really
3
okay?
bars.
Okay, it's time to design.
All right, so the White Hot Headband is done. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Well-Rounded Power, All-Stat, and Mutated Material, which should make us so much more powerful, honestly. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and equip that on Sophie. Take a quick look at that to see the 3 different things we have here. We have Inner Fire, which reveals true power when fighting stronger enemies. We'll talk about that later. Inject Warlike Spirit, critical hit and critical hit damage bonus is increased. And Void KO, you have a chance to survive 1 HP when you receive damage that will reduce your HP to 0. As a very low chance, but honestly not a bad thing. And actually, let me remove that real quick and show you guys the boost to the far right. Increases HP and MP and LP, and then also increases attack, defense, and speed by a lot. So that's actually really, really useful. Now let me go ahead and take a snooze here. And with that, I want to head into town, and I want to go to the street first because I want to register that little bar with Sophie. Corey. I don't know where I am with this right now. So there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and replace this particular cloth.
Are you okay?
And I want to buy that back. Now these are expensive, by the way. As you can, where is that? There it is. As you can see, it's 302. We're gonna need some extra money, but that's fine. Now let's go ahead and head into the blacksmith. And let's craft
What weapon do you want to make?
for...
Tell me which
This is for
materials to
Sophie.
use.
So let's start with this. You have to use a spruce. You can use whatever spruce you want here. Again, whatever. I'm gonna just toss whatever on here. It should be fine. And then lastly, some sort of gem. So let's toss. Again, you can always sort by like size here if you really want to. And then you can craft, grab those 3 traits.
Is this all right?
Costs a little over 1,000, but that's all right.
All right, it's done. I think it turned out well.
And there you have that. So let's go ahead and equip that. Now for Sophie, you're gonna get a little bit of a decrease to start with. That's because we've already increased our starting staff. I think you can see it. Yeah, we had enhanced it 4 times, which is good for actually doing that for Sophie. Now let's go ahead and craft another one.
What
I want
weapon do you
to
wanna make?
craft for Fritz. I want to craft the True Dark Light. That's the one we're looking for.
Tell me which materials
And
to
let me
use.
go ahead and choose the stuff we need here.
Choose the
All right,
traits
and
you
grab
wanna
the
add.
3 traits we
Here's the-
want,
all right,
and
it's
there
done.
it is, the True
it turned
Dark
out well.
Light for
I'll-
our friend Fritz. Let's go ahead and toss that on Fritz. Again, you've got a little bit of a decrease, but that is because his original one had been, I think, enhanced once. So we're going to be enhancing those weapons now. And if you just go ahead and take a quick look at that, you can kind of see that we can already get past that. Now, one of the things I am going to do for Sophie is I'm going to use her old starting staff to actually enhance her current weapon. And you can see the boost here is not a joke. So let's go ahead and do that.
This is okay, right?
It kind of takes care of some of the issues that we were going to have. And you can do the same thing with Fritz. You can go ahead and toss his weapon on there if you want. And in fact, that's what we're going to do.
This is okay.
Yeah, it's a
right?
good little boost. So those two are going to be so much more powerful just kind of starting off. Now let's head to the street. I want to grab all of Leon's animal fur,
I've reached.
wherever it is. There it is. Let's go ahead and grab
You're
that. And let's head back
Come back.
to the Atelier. Now the last thing I want to do today is just kind of discuss some of the new skills that we have. So we've kind of talked about them a little bit. There are some ones that are unique, and then there's some that are not unique, but I want to spend some of those points that we have. Now for Sophie, I want to get Top Gourmet, which increases attack power and base damage. And additionally, I want to get the damage reduction. Now, Sophie takes a lot of damage pretty much all the time, so that will reduce all damage taken for her. For Monica, I want to grab the Goddess Shield, which reduces all damage and increases evasion. I want to grab Holy Blade, which increases base damage. It also includes Undead Slayer, but I don't really care too much about that. For Oscar here, I want to grab Stamina Killer, as well as Shovel Master. So Shovel Master increases skill power proportional to wait time, but increases the maximum HP. And then the Stamina Killer increases all stats proportional to maximum LP and increases maximum LP. So these are just boosts in general. For Julio, I want to get the... here it is, the Grand Barrier, which increases defense. You can see it increases it by 50 points. And then I also want to get Holy Sword, which a portion of damage dealt restores HP. Really useful to have that. For Harl, I want to get Nihilism, I think that's how that's pronounced, so it reduces chances to be affected by status ailments and increases base damage. Would like that. And Lightning Speed, where's Lightning Speed? There it is, which chance to have wait time after turn. So basically, he could move a lot faster. For Leon, I want to get Bond of Life and Spirit, which increases maximum HP and MP. And then I also want to get damage reduction for her, because again, she takes a lot of damage, so well worth it. For Corey, I want to get the Swift Gale, which increases speed and all stats proportional to speed. And then I also want to get Defensive Spell, so a portion of damage taken is converted to MP damage instead. So that's kind of nice, actually. For Fritz, I want to get Gentle Forging, which reduces wait time after turns, which makes him faster. And Sword Tactician, which increases damage against broken enemies, making him really, really useful against broken enemies. And then lastly, I actually want to go into Plachta, and I want to get Reincarnation, automatically recover from KO, no after effects from revival. Yeah, that's really, really nice. And then I want to get Rising Potential, which increases all stats proportional to her level. That can get very interesting, and I want to take that, and that's really nice. So she's got some really good stats now. As you can kind of see, we're just moving along and increasing pretty much across the board. Of course, Sophie is going to be our main person that we're going to be paying attention to because of her weapons, and she's always in battle, so I think it's really, really useful to have her just along with the ride all the time. Now what we're going to be doing overall is we're going to be creating 4 of those maxed out white hot headbands for our party. We're also going to be creating the time control hourglasses. We're going to create 4 of those and 2 hustle belts. Now you can be like, well, you can only have 2, so why the additional stuff? But actually some of the members of your party can benefit from the hustle belt more than the white hot headband. But honestly, you don't have to create the hustle belts. The white hot headband and the time control hourglass would be great. And you don't want to max out the time control hourglass. We're going to be creating those later because we don't have any crystal balls right now. But we're going to get some of those, and then we're going to create some of those for our party. And I think that's it. That was a lot of information, but I wanted to get some of that started because we're going to be creating more of those and doing more of that. The problem is for right now, you can kind of see in the middle of the screen, we only have 2,308 coal. We need a lot of money. So starting next time, we're going to have to go out, do a lot of grinding. I might do some of that in between episodes because we need a ton of money. And there's a few other things that we need to synthesize for our long-term battle plans. So I will see you guys next time as I continue to work on that.